Can everyone see my screen? Someone please confirm.
It's visible, Sifty.
Okay, thank you. So these are a few features of VAT in TallyPrime, such as automatic calculation and entries. So for example, a sale or purchase where an item is applicable for VAT, that will calculate automatically in the transaction. You don't need to put it in manually. It allows you to maintain exempted and zero-rated sales and purchases. You can directly export to KRA VAT Form 3. So instead of filling the Form 3 Excel sheet manually, you can export it directly from Tally. I'll be showing you that as well. It allows you to maintain multiple tax rates. For example, 8%, like for fuel, VAT is 8% and not 16. You can maintain that in Tally as well. It allows you to maintain inputs with custom entry numbers. It allows you to maintain return summary reports. So there's a very good and detailed summary report of VAT in TallyPrime. There's easy corrections and reconciliations. So you see sometimes some transactions aren't included in the Form 3 because of some errors. Maybe a PIN is missing or the customer is registered, but it's a different country. So such errors, TallyPrime will tell you the exact errors and it will give you an opportunity to correct them. Then there's maintaining statutory adjustments as well, such as VAT withholding tax of 2%. You can maintain that in Tally as well. So I'm assuming all of you know what Tally looks like, and this is the gateway of Tally. So we will start with the company level features in F11, where I can enable VAT. I can set and alter the tax rate at a company level when I press yes. As you can see, from 1st Jan 2021, there's a tax rate of 16%. But when I go to details, like last year, there was 14%. And then from January, it was changed to 16%. So Tally allows you to maintain, you can change it, like instead of changing it everywhere in each and every transaction, you can just change it at one point from the company features. Then you can put your PIN number of your company here, where when it will help in exporting and you won't have to put it in again and again, you just have to define it once. And you can select your device type as well. For example, for ESD, then you can have some configurations and the signature will print on the invoice you're printing from Tally automatically. Then we can move to items, how items can be applicable for VAT or exempted. If there's any questions, please put them in the chat box. We'll answer them at the end. So as you can see, this item is applicable for VAT. And when I go to the details, I don't need to define 16% in each and every item because I've already defined it in the company level here. So in tax type, I can select exempt if it was, for example, medicine is exempted. Zero rated is like maybe rice, sugar, where the government doesn't want tax to be put on. But this one I can leave it as unknown. I can select when it's applicable from, because like medicine, some medicines in between, maybe from Jan to May, it was applicable, but from May onwards, it wasn't applicable. You can define that as well. And for service industries, where maybe like you guys have consultants, you can maintain that as well. So for example, in consultant fees is applicable. When I go to the details, I can make this sales exempt, taxable, zero rated, whatever it is. And I can define the tax rate as well. Maybe some have a different tax rate, such as fuel. For me, for this company, fuel is an expense. So it's applicable for VAT, but when I go to the details, it's taxable and the tax rate is 8%. Next, I can show you how tax is calculated automatically. I go to sales invoice. I can select my customer. As you can see, VAT is calculated automatically. I didn't need to put in the amount manually. So when I go to daybook, I'll select the whole month so I can show you all of my transactions. There's cash sales where VAT has been calculated automatically as well, and cash sales as well will be exported to the Form 3, carry Form 3 sheet. Then there's a fuel purchase of 5,000 and VAT of 8% has been calculated as well. And some companies like to maintain their items or sales inclusive of VAT. We have that option as well. As you can see, my voucher class here is inclusive VAT, and the tax is inside it. The rate is with VAT inside. So as you can see, the breakdown has been calculated automatically. I didn't have to put this manually. The credit sale is 689, and VAT has been calculated of 110. So when I define a rate of 8, it's a rate inclusive VAT. Then there's withholding tax. So my customer, for example, if my customer is an agent, they withheld 2% of an invoice, I'll debit the withholding tax amount and I'll credit the customer account, and I'll put what invoice the withholding entry is against, and I can make this a statutory adjustment. I can choose whether it's a decrease of output tax, increase of input tax, refund, and all of that. In this case, it's a decrease of output tax. I can provide VAT details, where there's the name of the agent, the PIN number, which has been defined in this ledger already, and the withholding certificate number, the date of payment of when the customer paid to the government. This can all be defined in this entry. Next, we can move to the VAT Form 3 sheet. VAT Form 3, where it will give me a detailed report. So automatically, the period of the whole month has appeared. There's total vouchers, where it shows the total number of vouchers during this period, which was 30. Included in return was 20. Not relevant for this return, such as entries such as payments, receipts, these all don't affect VAT, so these will appear under this subtitle. When I enter here, uncertain transactions, corrections are needed, it will give me the types of errors, why these transactions aren't being included in the return. So mismatch due to tax amount modified. So that means someone has edited the voucher. Like here, the as per calculation is 64, but as per transaction is 70. The difference is 6. So that means one of my employees maybe had edited the voucher and edited the tax amount. I'll enter in this, and I can correct it to 64. And as you can see, the transaction has been removed from here. Next is customer E. As per transaction is 32, but as per calculation, it's supposed to be 0. So I will check what's wrong with this entry. I can check the item first, whether it's applicable for VAT or not. It's applicable because it's unknown. Then I'll check the customer ledger, whether they are registered. So as you can see, my employee by mistake, instead of Kenya, he chose Indonesia, which makes him an international customer. So VAT wouldn't be applicable for him. So I'll select Kenya and I'll save it. Customer E here as well is showing it's from Indonesia. When I refresh it, they will all be removed. Then is a cash payment. The voucher type is a payment. I'll enter this. So I didn't want to claim VAT for this repair and maintenance because it was a small amount. So repair and maintenance is applicable for VAT, but this is a payment entry where VAT isn't applicable for it. So I'll select this and exclude. If there's any questions, please put them in the chat so we can answer them at the end. Then there's information missing, another error. So for example, customer B, party PIN, the type of exception is invalid PIN. I'll enter and it will allow me to change the PIN from here. So the party PIN, I'll confirm it from my customer, and I can see by mistake I put an extra S at the end. So I'll remove it and I'll save. And it has been removed from here. Another type of error is exception where the supplier original invoice number or date is missing. So I will recheck my original invoice number, the one the supplier issued me, and I'll input that number. The voucher date was 1st May, and my supplier had issued his invoice on 1st May as well. And it has been removed. So the uncertain transactions are now 0. I'll make this report detailed, where I can see under local sales, there's taxable of 16% and the tax amount as well here. And then there's exempt, where there's sales exempt and there's 0 rated. As I said, sales exempt is for items such as Panadol. So when I enter here, it shows Panadol is exempted. So this will come under exempt. Another one is a company of an NGO where I do not want to issue VAT to them. So instead of issuing VAT to them, instead of adding VAT to their transaction, I have put the ledger as sales exempt and the item which is applicable for VAT, and it will fall under sales exempt. Then there's 0 rated. Items such as rice is 0 rated, so it will fall under 0 rated. Then there's purchases. Purchases taxable at 8%, which is fuel, as shown previously, and purchase taxable of 16%. Then there's imports that are taxable as well, import taxable at 16%. And then there's the VAT adjustments of withholding tax, or yeah. So the total here shows 17,582.34, which is payable to the government, balance VAT payable. Now I can export this. E-return. So you see Tally here allows you to directly export this sheet to the KRA format instead of putting all of the details and transactions manually into the KRA format. This will take around 5 minutes, but that can take your whole day. I'll select where my file is located in documents. So I know my file is located here in desktop, and this is my file. So I'll select from Drive, Desktop, Safety, VAT, and that is where my file is located. The file name is predefined in Tally as per the KRA format. Then I can show the numbers of rows. I can show a number of rows to add in this Excel sheet. Yes. I'll open my Excel file. My Excel file was located here. So I had put this folder path in Tally. I have shown how many number of rows to add. So in section B, it says add 9 rows. So you see, Tally is smart enough to calculate how many rows to add in your Excel file so that all the transactions will be visible. So I will add rows, 9. And then there's, in F, I have to add 2. I can save this, and I'll make sure to close the Excel file. Now I can export it. Kindly remember, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat so we can answer them at the end. So you see, instead of putting the transactions manually into the Excel sheet, they'll directly export from Tally.
Yes, and you're able also to see the progress. Sorry to interject. Are you able to see the progress of where the uploading is being done? So a work that will take you a lot of time to manually.
So as you can see, the PIN of my company has appeared here. And the period as well of 1st May to 31st May has appeared. The sales, my customers have appeared. The PIN of my customers have also appeared. The invoice date has appeared, the invoice number, the description of goods and services, and taxable. Then there's total sales and VAT to customers not registered. So for example, cash sales, where I don't need to record each and every PIN number, it has appeared here as well, and the total is appearing here. All details have been captured in this. So for example, sales 0 rated has also appeared here to customer B and the PIN, and it has appeared. Then there's exempt as well, which has also appeared. So all the details here have been filled. The purchases. So for example, for import, I had an import as well. So for international supplier, my invoice number and everything else has appeared, but the PIN of supplier is not necessary because it's an import. The type of purchase is an import. That has also appeared. So 8% of fuel, the purchase has also appeared here. So like that, all of these have been filled. And as well as withholding tax has appeared here of 232. And this is what it looks like. And I can directly upload this on the KRA website. So you see, like how I've explained this within like maybe 15 minutes. Once you get used to it, and you don't even need to explain. It will just take 5 minutes to file your returns.
And also to interject again, for you to also see if Tally has been able to export all the data, you also check with this one. Is it net payable? This amount should match with what is in Tally, the balance that was in Tally. Yeah, and again, from here, if you need to do any edits, you need to add anything, again, the system will allow you to do that before you can submit it to KRA. So the purpose of this is to make your work easy. Instead of you doing it manually, like most of you do, the system will be able to export everything for you, as long as you're doing all the transactions in the system.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining this meeting. I'd like to hand it over to Elsie.